So how do we fix this mess that is usually created by a dropped edge stitch? First, let's find the stitch. It should be somewhere at the very bottom of the messy part of the edge, and mine is right over here. Secure it with a pin or a stitch marker, but if you plan to fix the edge right away, then insert a knitting needle into that stitch and go from front to back, like this. Now let's sort out the strands that form that scary tangled mess above the last intact stitch. Keep in mind that this mess is comprised of a number of loops, and each loop represents the yarn unraveled from 2 stitches, the last stitch of one row and the last stitch of the row above it. Carefully pull the strand at the very top of the edge to reveal the first loop. It's right here. If that loop managed to loosen the neighboring stitches, then tug on that loop to tighten the loose stitches. And then do the same to the rest of the strand. So pull the strand, find the loop, and then pull to tighten the neighboring stitches. And then do it again. Pull the strand, find the loop. And now instead of having a mess, we have 3 nice loops aligned, waiting for us to turn them into stitches. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So first, insert the knitting needle that holds the last intact stitch into the loop that is the closest to that stitch. It would be this one. Go from back to front, like this. And then take the other needle, insert it into the stitch purlwise, and pass the stitch over the strand that comes from the loop, like this. Now we picked up one of the stitches. Then go into the same loop, because see, it's still loose. Go there from front to back this time and do the same. Pass the stitch over the strand, forming another stitch. We've just fixed one loop and turned it into 2 stitches. Now let's do it again. Back to front into the loop, pass the stitch over. Front to back into the same loop, pass the stitch over. And keep going until you fix all these loops and turn them into nice and neat stitches. Just like this. Now I'm gonna turn the working yarn into a stitch, and I'm pretty much ready to resume my knitting. But before I do that, I need to slip the stitch to the working needle, but this time I do it knitwise to turn the stitch like this. And that's how we fix a side edge that was messed up by a dropped edge stitch. The full tutorial about this technique is at 10rowsaday.com/fix dropped edge stitch. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.